With that, good morning. My name is Paige Green, and I'm the president and CEO of the Gilmer Chamber, a job that I have been blessed to have for so many years now. And right now is a very trying time for our community, our world around us. But we are going to spend just a little bit of time together like we do every month. And we are going to share some good news. We're going to share what's going on in our community, the good things that are happening. And with that, it is my pleasure to introduce your chairman of the board for 2020, Mr. Chris Wong.
Thanks so much, Paige. I sure do appreciate that. I want to welcome everyone. I'm working from home, and so I thought, well, I've got a t-shirt on, but to make this a better network lunch experience, and since we're a business community, I'm going to put my working jacket on. And so now we have a combination of a little work from home and a little business attire just to make us feel at home. I want to welcome you, like Paige said, to the network lunch. I'm going to say a blessing for us. I hope you have gotten your favorite takeout place from Elijah and that you're eating lunch as we talk through and hear from Commissioner Paris here in just a second. So I'm going to pray for us, pray for the community, bless the food in this time. So if you could just bow your head and pray with me. Lord, thank you so much just for the way that you are uniting our community through this crisis. Of course, we pray for the heartache. We pray for those who have lost a loved one, whether it be directly or indirectly. At this point, I know that all of us know someone who has been affected by the virus. And so, Lord, I just pray for peace and comfort in their time, in this time for their loss. We pray for the businesses around our community, Lord, that you will just give us wisdom and discernment as we lead and as we serve these businesses, that we can provide hope to them, to know that we are here to support them, and to be with them and standing beside them to assist them in getting through this crisis. So give us, Father, vision and eyes and just see a good plan. Speak clearly to us through this time. We thank you for this food. We thank you still for the restaurants that are able to provide food for us. Whether it be in Elijah or around the county, Lord, I'm thankful for them and pray just a special blessing to their business during this time. We love you, and it's in your name we pray. Amen. Amen. And so we have a great sponsor. It's, to be honest with you, Amicalola, who is our sponsor, it's just so fitting that they're the sponsor for this network lunch. They've been a long-time member. John and Penelope Marshall, as I said back in January, you can't find much of a greater couple in Gilmer County, let alone the state of Georgia or in the whole world. But I am so honored and privileged to pass this baton to Ms. Marshall. I want to say a side note that not only did Amicalola stay with their sponsorship for this month, even through this crazy time, they also paid an extra portion to cover the lost revenue that the chamber was missing out on for us not actually having our lunch. And not only does that just speak just bounds and wonders of that company, but also just shows you the depth of love that they have for our area. And so I'm so thankful for Amicalola, who is our sponsor this month, and I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Penelope Marshall at this time.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much, Mr. Wong, for that great introduction. I am so fortunate. I have been with Amicalola for 33 years. They have been a true blessing to me and my family. Thank you so much for allowing us to sponsor today. Representing Amicalola and Gilmer County on our board is Randall Ponder and David Pierce. Amicalola is a not-for-profit corporation that provides electricity and related services to over 50,000 locations in the North Georgia area, 10 counties that we serve. In Gilmer County, we have actually 15,000 locations. It's the largest county that we serve. Our crews are on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our mission is simple. We exist only to provide our members with electricity at an affordable price. We also provide substantial financial support to education, economic development, and 501c3 corporations. This year, we will award scholarships to 132 seniors and 8 juniors for a total of $137,000. Also, this fall, we're very excited. We're going to have the Bright Ideas grant program again for our teachers. and we'll be awarding over $50,000 in our locations. All these funds were made available due to unclaimed property in accordance with Georgia's unclaimed property laws. Another program we're very proud of is our Operation Roundup program. Representing Gilmer County on this trust board is Edgar Land and Joanne Vick. Donations so far since January of 1999 have been over $2.3 million that we have been able to put back into the communities that we serve. Our retail rates, we are so excited, have remained stable. We have not had a rate increase in the last 10 years. Georgia Transmission, which is a transmission corporation in our area in the state of Georgia, is going to put in a new transmission line in Gilmer County, and it's going to be in the White Path area. That will help with the reliability in our whole system. Amicalola, just like everybody else, is monitoring the virus. We are trying to protect our employees, our members, and the public at large. We're on a normal schedule. I actually happen to be in the office, but I'm one of very few. We probably have about 8 in our headquarters office and probably about 3 in our headquarters office, what we call our operations center. We have like a handful, maybe 4 to 5 in our district offices. Our lobby is closed at this time, but you can do any kind of transaction through our drive-thrus. Those are open. We are trying our best to social distance like everybody else. Our outside workforce is basically working from home, but they're meeting at locations to do work. We have been very fortunate to where we have a lot of people that have great internet access and they've been able to work from home. I personally would like to thank our employees that have stepped up to the plate during this very difficult time. Thank you again so much for letting us be your sponsor. And if there's anything we can help you with, please reach out. We'll be glad to do that. And I'd like to turn it back over to Mr. Chris. And thank you so much.
Fantastic. No, thank you so much, Ms. Marshall and Amicalola and all the, again, just the great business that you guys are with your Roundup program and just the other outstanding things you do for our community. Thank you so much. So with that being said, we want to get to our main keynote speaker, but I want to give a couple of quick, I guess you could call them house rules or Zoom rules, if you will. If you look down at the bottom of your screen, if you kind of hover your mouse over the bottom, you'll see a couple of buttons you can press while Commissioner Paris is speaking. You'll see a Q&A button, which we would actually, if you have questions throughout Commissioner Paris's speech, you can type your questions. And if we have enough time, which I think we will, he's going to go through those questions. I believe Caitlin Neal's going to be monitoring that for us and moderating some of those questions. And then you'll see a chat function that you can actually, you know, if you want to just leave any comments. We've already got some great comments from Beth Bennett. Post 2 Commissioner Ferguson is also listening, and so we want to say hey to her as well. So feel free to also interact in the chat section. You can chat individually with members. You can chat individually with just a panelist or have everyone else see it as well. But again, save the Q&A for specific questions. So with that being said, I can't think of a better man to be leading our commissioner group than Commissioner Paris. I believe now is the time. I commend him for being conservative and protecting our budgets in ways that he has these past several years. And I think when we enter in times like this, it's times when we're extra grateful for his just taking things, you know, one line item at a time and making sure that he always has the best interest of Gilmer County at heart. And so he listens to the people. He makes decisions based off of what he's hearing, but he also uses discernment and he uses wisdom. And it's proving at a time like this to where we are hitting kind of a crisis. I can't think of a better man to lean on than Commissioner Paris. So I thank you, Commissioner Paris. I look forward to hearing this speech. And with that in mind, I'm going to send it over to you.
Okay, I think I figured out how to unmute myself. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate those kind remarks. I appreciate an opportunity to speak with you all today about what all is going on in Gilmer County. One of the things that I want to stress is that Gilmer County is still conducting business. Now, it may not quite be business as usual, but we're still trying to get done all of the things that we need to get done. Right now, everything seems to be more about the COVID ID than anything. I guess probably 98% of everything that I deal with on a day-to-day basis, one way or the other, has to do with this coronavirus business. So it has affected how we do things, and will for some period of time. The good part about this is that financially, we are in the best shape that we've been in decades now. I say that a lot because it's something that I'm pretty proud of. There have been a couple of folks that sort of chided me about that they're a little tired of hearing it, but it's times like these when this is important, because if we were going into this financially strapped, by the time we got on the other side of it, it could be really a really rough situation. So we want to take steps to ensure that our financial position remains strong, and we are continuing to do that. One of the things that you all may remember is several weeks ago, I indicated that we were going to kind of put the brakes on capital spending, and we will only be spending capital money on those things that are essential, or on those things that were already in progress and something that would be a little difficult to try to stop in place. And we're doing that because we really don't have any idea of how much the revenues from our spliced will decline. We anticipate that it will decline, but we want to kind of put the brakes on things a little, hold back a little until we can see just exactly what we think is going to be the net result of that, how much it's going to decline. That's something that we really need to be able to find out about. One of the parts of that is that we have placed the construction of the swimming pool on hold. I know that's something that's important to a lot of people, important to me. We have the money set aside for that. It's sitting in an account. So it's not that we're concerned that we're not going to be getting enough money in to finish the pool. And I'm really not concerned that we would have to dip into that money for anything else to a great degree, but it's just an option that we need to keep open to ourselves. So we're not going to be continuing on with the swimming pool for now, just because we've got a little over $1 million sitting in a swimming pool account that, should things really, really get go down the tubes, we have a source where we can temporarily pull some funds from. As I say, we don't expect that to happen, but it just seems to be a prudent thing to do. We also have and I should mention too that the exception to that is where we're taking out the old pool. That will continue because we're in the middle of that, and we'll continue to clear that area. We have essentially finished the tennis courts, so once the river park opens, we'll be very quickly able to open the tennis courts. The thing that is lacking on that is the lighting, and we will be holding off on that lighting because that's a little over $100,000, and we just don't need to be spending that money right now. We're hopeful that when all this ends, we can get back to normal. We can go ahead and do things like put in that lighting. In terms of our concerns that the spliced may decline some, the revenue from spliced, the primary use for our spliced revenue is to pay our debt service. That debt service is about $4 million a year. I'm very pleased to say that we have money set back in an account sufficient to pay the second of 2 payments for 2020. We paid the first payment in March. And we also have enough money set back there to pay both payments for 2021 on the debt service. So the next debt service payment that will be due that is not already funded and have the money in place will be in March of 2022. So I think that's going to help us out a lot. And that for the worst part of all this, we don't have to worry about how we're going to come up with that $4 million because we've already got it set aside. In addition to that, we do have about $500,000 in the reserve, in the capital reserve. So that's money that we set back for things such as this, unexpected things that come up, and you always need to have a reserve. So that's what we have for our capital reserve. The fact is, though, I have to tell you that we're not going to get out of this without some significant inconvenience. Right now, we're seeing shortages in our grocery stores. Our restaurants are closed, except for takeout and pickup. And that's hurting an awful lot of owners and employees in those restaurants. We're very anxious for that to get back to normal as quickly as possible. The situation with the food in the stores is improving as our stores continue to restock, but we still have a ways to go on that. So the situation is not good. It's inconvenient, but I think that it will continue to improve. The government services that you expect are going to be impacted a bit for a few weeks. And the reason for that is that we're trying to limit public contact for our employees as much as possible, particularly those that are deemed to be at-risk employees. So we're working in many cases, road department would be a good example, with basically half a crew. That means that if your road needs grading and gravel, we're not going to be able to get to it as quickly as we normally would, which will be an inconvenience because there's an awful lot of folks that feel like we don't get to it quickly enough anyway. But there will be some delay in that, and it's all for the purpose of trying to keep our employees safe. Along those same lines, the lobby area of the commissioner's office has been closed to the public. There's really not a lot that's done there that can't be done over the phone in terms of having a public interface. But we also have included planning and zoning in that, and they do get quite a bit of public interaction there in planning and zoning. But we have figured out and worked it out such that you can get your permits, you can have your plats, you can do whatever you need done, either online or over the phone. So we have those processes in place so that in planning and zoning, business can continue almost as usual. There'll be some inconvenience, but people are still going to be able to build houses and do their projects and the things that they need to do. We have reviewed everyone's job to see whose duties will allow them to work from home. In some cases, we've sort of moved some of those duties around, swapped them around a little bit for people that will allow them to work from home. So everybody that can do what they need to do from home is doing that right now and working from home. River Park is still closed. I know that the governor's order would allow it to open. It also allows us to keep it closed. And the reason we're keeping it closed is because that's one of the most difficult places to try to limit to 10 people, particularly the playground. And the playground is our primary concern right now. We were spending hours trying to sanitize that playground. And then we would open it up, and within 10, 15 minutes, all the children there were basically at risk because, as you might imagine, in a time like this, when the schools are out and people have some time on their hands, there were a lot of folks that were wanting to bring their kids to the playgrounds, and I can understand that, but it was really kind of a dangerous place for them. So we've decided that we're going to continue to keep the River Park closed for now. We'll review the golf course after a little bit, but for now, the golf course is going to remain closed as well. That will probably reopen before the River Park does, but I don't think that we're at that point right now. Some of our most high-risk employees are those who work in the convenience centers and solid waste. We're trying to limit their exposure as much as possible. So what we're doing is we're dividing them up into teams such that maybe one team works this week, then the other team works the following week. We're trying to limit public exposure to these people just as much as we possibly can. Now, the net result of that is that we don't really end up with enough employees to keep everything going the way that it has been in the past. So what's going to have to happen on that is that the Whitestone Convenience Center is going to be closed for now. The Tower Road facility will be closed on Sundays. That was previously open on Sundays, and it will now be closed on Sundays. And this is all because of our manpower situation in trying to schedule everybody in such a way that they can limit their interaction with the public. Our emergency, I should mention too that these are not permanent closures. We have a lot of people that are concerned that, okay, you've closed it, you're never going to reopen it. I want to assure those people that we have every intention of reopening those facilities as soon as this emergency is gone. Our Emergency Operations Center is functional as needed. So we're trying to make sure that we give public safety functions a very high priority. We want to make sure that even though you may not get your road scraped as often as you'd like, even though you may not be able to go into the river park or play golf, you will be able to have every expectation that the protective services that the county offers will continue and will not be reduced. So we do have plans in place that will make sure that we can provide these safety functions with no decline or no delay in the protection that we offer. I will say that the state of emergency that we're in will probably be extended, and I'm talking now about the county state of emergency. Doesn't really mean a lot because the governor's, the state's state of emergency and the state's shelter-in-place order totally supersedes the county's orders. So whether we've got something in place or don't have anything in place, nothing really changes for now. I do believe, though, that it's prudent to continue with the state of emergency at least through April to coincide with the state of emergency that the state has in place. It may mean nothing since the state's got something of their own, but it may mean there may be something that comes up where it does matter. And if that happens, we want it to be in place. The shelter in place has been extended by the governor to April the 30th. And I think that's a good thing because everything that I'm reading right now, all of the models that you hear people talking about, seem to indicate that this will peak in Georgia, depending on which model you look at, either April the 21st or April the 23rd. I don't think it makes sense to weaken the shelter in place as long as the rate of infections is still climbing. So the projection now is that those infection rates will continue to climb until the 21st or 23rd. And then hopefully they are correct that at that point we will start to see a decline. And I'm really looking forward to that. One of the questions that we had with the shelter in place with the governor's order initially was whether or not it applied to cabin rentals. We've been trying very, very diligently, a number of us, to get some sort of clarification on that. And fortunately, when the shelter in place was extended, at that time, we did get clarification on the cabin rentals. That clarification is that cabin rentals will not be allowed going forward, with one exception. If you have already paid in full for your reservation prior to April I think it was the 8th, then you will be allowed to come to that cabin and fulfill the reservation that you made. Other than that, the governor's order says that no cabin rentals will be allowed. We get a lot of people that feel like they'd like for us to override that here in Gilmer County locally and say, no, y'all folks can go ahead and rent. There is no overriding the governor's order. Typically, the county can be less, we cannot be less restrictive than the state, but we can be more restrictive. This order is different. It specifically states that the county can be no less restrictive and no more restrictive than the order that is in place. So we cannot waive this in any way. Cabin rentals will not be allowed. And it's going to be state enforcement on this. So for those who feel that they should go ahead and do that, you're probably going to be seeing a state law enforcement officer. And that's not something that we'd like to happen. So hopefully that clarifies the situation with the cabin rentals. And hopefully that's all that we need to say about this COVID-19 at this point. I don't know why I want to keep calling it COVID-ID, but I do know it's COVID-19. So leaving that particular subject, we are finally able to get some roads striped. And I know that's going to make a lot of people happy. In fact, I know it has made a lot of people happy because I'm actually getting pleasant emails on the subject of road striping. I always got a lot of emails about road striping, but they've only just now turned pleasant. But so we hope for that to continue. We have found a good third-party vendor now that we feel like we can work with, and they have pretty much completed the initial striping. But we do anticipate that there will be further striping. We do have further striping funded, so we just need to work with these folks and continue with nice enough weather that we can have this done. We, in other news, so to speak, we have replaced the old scales at the Tower Road facility. These were, I don't even know how many decades old, and they were causing us a lot of problems. They were going out a lot, which means people were bringing their trash there and the type that you need to go over the scales and weigh, and we're being turned away frequently. So those scales have been totally replaced now with new scales. We expect that that's going to provide more reliability and certainly reduce the amount of downtime that we've had. And we're looking forward to that. One piece of good news too is that once this emergency situation is behind us, which we certainly hope will be the case for the summer, we are going to be able to put an additional mowing crew out this summer to try to get our mowing done a little faster. And that's because prior to cutting back on the capital expenditures, we had purchased 2 new tractors to use specifically for mowing. So hopefully we'll be able to get a lot more done with that extra equipment, and we'll be able to put at least one additional mowing crew in place. We have a pavilion under construction at the golf course, which of course the golf course is closed now. It's very near completion. Because it is so near completion, once the golf course opens up, we are going to go ahead and complete that. And I think that's going to be a very nice addition for the course, particularly in terms of the tournaments that they have there. The demolition of the old pool is going very nicely. We've reached the point where we're looking underneath the pool now. We've called the engineers in to see what they have to say about it. And what they have determined is that 8 feet of the soil underneath that pool is inadequate. It's the type of soil that will shift and not bear up under weight. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take out 8 foot of that soil in the footprint of the pool, and we're going to have to replace that with a combination of rock and new soil. So the rock and new soil, we originally had just anticipated we'd put new soil in. The rock and new soil is going to be a little bit more expensive than that, but it's still going to be very much better than some of the other options that we've had. We're certainly not looking at 86,000 cubic yards like we were at some of the other locations. So we will do that. We'll probably hold off on actually putting that in place until the emergency is over as part of the putting the brakes on the capital spending. But what we really do know now, and the important part about this is that we have now confirmed that this location is viable for the placement of the new pool. So, and honestly, I got to tell you, where to put this thing has been the absolute most difficult decision we've had through this entire process. So hopefully this will clear all that up and allow us at the appropriate time to continue on. All of these changes do constitute a setback for Gilmer County. It's a setback only in the sense that our forward progress, I think, has been pretty much stopped. We were making forward progress in every department, including roads. Now what we're trying to do is just hold our own and not make any backward, not fall back any on this. So in that sense, we are going to see a setback from this while the emergency is in place. But the important thing here is that because of the financial situation that we discussed earlier, we're well positioned to weather this particular storm. And I think we're very well positioned to come out of it in good shape on the other side. In the meantime, our primary objective right now is just going to be simply to limit the number of infections as much as possible and to get past this without any deaths. And if we can do that and come out in no worse shape than I think we are, then I think we will have very successfully weathered this storm. And I certainly hope that's to be the case. I would encourage everybody to continue to shelter in place. I think that's going to be what either does it or doesn't do it in the end. So, and of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to call the commissioner's office. I'll probably have to call you back, but I certainly will do that. And with that, I will turn it over to any questions you may have, and thank you very much.
Yeah, so now if you want to leave some questions for Commissioner Paris in the Q&A, like I said, I think Caitlin is monitoring it. We'll give people just a couple of times. I know Bill Craig down there mentioned that he was doing a great job. I had Bill send that over to the comment section. I believe I saw some questions in the comment section that were able to be answered by Paige and the staff. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type it. We'll give you a couple minutes here, not too long. I do want to echo what Commissioner Paris said. The most important thing for all of us to do right now is just a shelter in place. Gilmer County has done a fantastic job as far as the records look. When you look at maps and data of staying safe and staying sanitized, maybe losing our sanity, but definitely taking care of ourselves. And so great job to those. I see some questions coming. Commissioner Paris, is the Tower Road facility accepting recyclables?
They are during the normal business hours. We're accepting recyclables as usual. The only change that you'll see in that is that, of course, you won't be able to bring them on Sunday, as we will be closing that facility on Sundays now. Okay.
And then we've got something also here from Cassie. She wants to know, she's obviously excited about the pool. She wants to know if the Civic Center, is that going to be affected by the pool construction?
The Civic Center will not be affected. It will continue to operate as normal once we get back to a situation where it can operate as normal. But no, the only effect that will be to the Civic Center is that we will be renovating the bathroom facilities that are attached to the Civic Center as part of the pool construction. But other than that, there'll be no effect.
Okay, fantastic. We've got something from the Herald. Do you have an idea of how many confirmed cases we have of the virus in Gilmer County?
It's my understanding that we currently have 4 confirmed cases in Gilmer County.
Okay. Mark asks, the governor's office sent this email yesterday. The shelter in place is going through May 13th. And so have you heard anything extra? You just mentioned something about the end of April. Have you heard about the May 13th extension? Actually, the shelter in place is only extended through April 30th. What has been extended through May the 13th is the state of emergency order. 2 things have to happen before you can have a shelter in place. First of all, you have to be in a state of emergency. You can't just order a shelter in place under a normal situation. You have to first declare the state of emergency. So that state of emergency is what has been extended through May the 13th. Once they had the state of emergency, then they were able to issue the shelter in place. The shelter in place, however, was not extended all the way to May the 13th. It was extended to April 30th. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if it gets extended again, but as for right now, the shelter in place goes through the 30th. Okay. I think I read Mark's question wrong. He had that right. I was reading that wrong. Kathy Harrison did have something on the follow-up. She was wondering if the fact that we don't have a local hospital, does that affect our county numbers in any ways? With people heading south? I'm not sure if that would or not, but do you know?
I'm not sure what you mean by affecting the county numbers. I assume you mean the fact that we have 4 confirmed, and which is pretty low considering what the other counties have. We're working very, very closely with Piedmont Mountainside, and of course they have the connection to the ER here as well. So basically, we're doing the same thing now that I've been doing for the last couple of years. I've just assumed that Piedmont Mountainside is our hospital, and they're okay with us thinking of it that way. So with that in mind, we're working very closely with them. I believe that the fact that we only have 4 confirmed cases certainly speaks to the fact that they're on top of things. But I think more than that, even it speaks to the fact that folks of Gilmer County are taking this social distancing seriously and the shelter in place seriously. And I think that's got a lot to do with why we have fewer cases than most other counties.
I will add this. Oh, go ahead, Caitlin.
No, this is Paige.
Sorry.
Chris, I just want to jump in real quick and on Kathy's question, the state numbers are reported not from where the case is confirmed, but from the county of residence of the patient. So whether someone is diagnosed in Woodstock or Canton or Jasper, they are attributed to the county in which they live. I think maybe that was the answer to
Yes. And I think Commissioner Ferguson even mentioned that the COVID-19 numbers are based on the address of your driver's license.
That is correct. Yes.
That is correct. And I missed out on that. I apologize if I gave a different answer.
That's why we're all in this together.
Okay.
I don't see any more questions. And so I want to thank Commissioner Paris, the leadership and the great team. I mean, our whole commissioner staff or the other 2 posts as well. I also want to thank the city. I know I saw Sandy Ott was on this call as well. And so thank you for the great job the city is doing. But Commissioner Paris, thank you so much for taking time out of your crazy hectic schedule to be with us today. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.
With that now, I'd like to transition to another group that's doing a great job of leading this organization, and that is our board of directors. I'm going to have Caitlin put just a picture of our board of directors on our screen so you can see them and the great job that they have been doing. In fact, we were just on a finance committee call just yesterday so that we could just make sure that we're in tune with what's going on and what our numbers are, trying to project numbers. You can see our executive board of directors there. I don't know who that guy is with the shaved head. Man, that guy changes his hairstyle more than his wife, I think. You see all the nice people there, Bobby, John, Jason. We'll go to the rest of the board, Caitlin. You'll see them as well. But like I was mentioning, just trying to make sure that we are respecting everyone's dollars. Obviously, we are of service to our members. And so I want you to know that your board of directors and the finance committee, we're all trying to stay on top of just of this economy and this crisis, what we're going through. Do we have the next page of, am I missing that, or mine may have frozen? I'm not sure. But our board of directors are doing a great job as well. And then if we could also go to the ambassadors, again, and it may have frozen or maybe it's be frozen on my screen. I'm not quite sure. But our ambassadors do a great job as well. The ambassadors, I always say, are the foot soldiers of our organization. One thing that the ambassadors do that oftentimes goes unnoticed is they're the volunteer force. They're kind of like the skeleton of when we hold an event. Not only do they come prepared and ready to serve, but oftentimes they're the front line and they're the first ones there and the last to leave. So we thank you for the ambassadors as well. And we also have new members. So I'm going to switch that over to Ellen, and she's going to read the new members list to everyone.
Hi, everybody. Y'all's comments are great. It's so good to see everybody commenting and glad to have you here. We have several new members since we met last. Rhonda Weiss is an individual, Carter's Lake Storage, Natural Wellness Center of LJ, Go Wine Tours, Plated Creations Catering, D&M Painting, and Rebel Creek Construction. We have had our first virtual ambassador meeting this month. Our Gilmer Chamber Leads group, we're going to try a virtual meeting with them on Tuesday, April 21st. And Coffee and Conversations, which is our event for new members and those new to the chamber, we're going to try that virtually as well on Wednesday, April 22nd. And here's back to Paige.
Thanks, Ellen. What a great time we've spent together so far with Commission Chairman Paris and Chris. Thank you for your leadership during this time. We want to also share some initiatives that we have been working on here at the Chamber. But first, before I do that, I want to take just a little executive privilege, I think, and do a shout out to our team. These guys that you all know and love just as I do, we may not be physically together, which for me is not easy. I do love drinking our coffee together in the mornings and spending time together, but I just wanted to make sure that you all knew that your chamber staff continues to work every day. We are meeting every morning via Zoom. We are continuing to put forth initiatives that are either a business resource. We want to be an advocate, a voice, a clear, loud voice for our businesses. And we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But we also want to be a community encourager, and we'll talk about that. So just a quick shout out to Lisa Salmon, who is our tourism manager. Of course, Ellen Grant, who you all heard from just a minute ago, our membership manager. Lisa Bradley, who is our accounting manager. She's going to keep the money flowing in and out, hopefully, during this crisis. Fana Chadwick, who's our administrative assistant, she has been in the office and continuing to do what she can to help us. And of course, our beloved Joe Sewell. Joe's hiding out in the woods at home with his family, but he is still working. He is still helping fulfill requests for information because people still want to come to the mountains when it's safe to do so. So shout out to all of them for what they're doing at home. And last, but absolutely certainly not least, is kind of the wizard behind the curtain for all of this phenomenal technology that you're seeing, all of the communications. I think when she took the job back in October, she didn't quite know how in the forefront communications would be during this crisis. But Caitlin Neal has done an amazing job and continues to just amaze me and what she's doing. So with that, let's talk about some of what we're doing. So Caitlin, if I could have the next screen. One of the things, as I mentioned, we want to be is the loud, factual voice, along with our friend Kent Sanford over at the Greater Gilmer Joint Development Authority. We made the decision very early that we would talk with one voice, and he has been my partner in crime with this in trying to make sure that we are your advocate, that we are getting you the information that you need. The chamber is going to be here for you. So my email address is right there on the screen, president@gilmerchamber.com. If there is something that you need, I don't care how small or how large, you email us and we will get an answer to you just as soon as we can. All of the information coming out of the federal government, all of the information coming out of the state can be confusing and overwhelming, and we're going to try and sort through it and sift through it and get it to you. Part of our business resource are a couple of things that we're doing. Next week, you're going to start seeing what we're calling chamber chat. That's going to be on Tuesday and Thursday. One will be in the morning, so it will be coffee chat. any of you that are old SNL fans, we're going to do coffee chat in the mornings, and then in the evenings we're going to have happy hour together, and it will be a small group of people just networking, talking about what's going on in their business, offering advice, offering support for each other. So stay tuned to your email and Facebook, and you will see an opportunity to join one of those as well. I've also spoken to Commissioner Paris and a few others, our executive committee, and Kent. We are already talking about recovery, and we are putting together a recovery team to focus on what the rest of the year looks like for us as an organization, for us as a community, and for you as a business. So you hopefully will start hearing from that recovery team as we move forward through this. Just know that we are already thinking, we know that we have to focus on our immediate needs, but we also need to focus on what we're going to do next. All right. Our next initiative, Caitlin, is one that we started really early, and I have to tell you that it's been really awesome to see some of the amazing chalk art that has been shared with us. This is just part of our initiative to be a community encourager. We're encouraging people to go out and draw on their sidewalks, their driveways, and share it with us. Hashtag this is LJ. This lives right now on our Facebook page. And just get your kids involved, get them excited about art, get them excited about being outside, getting a little vitamin D and all of that. So just do that, share it on Facebook with us. Hashtag this is LJ. Our next community encouragement initiative that we are working on, which has been so much fun, is called Sunshine at Home, or we've actually kind of renamed it 15 times, which has driven Caitlin completely batty, is now Share the Sunshine, hashtag Share the Sunshine. We put our money where our mouth is on this one. And so every day during our staff meeting, we take a look through Facebook at who has been sharing with us what they're doing at home to bring a little joy to their family, to do something lighthearted, to do something new and fun, creative, whether it is planting a garden, whether it is creating new crafts, maybe it's some really amazing chalk art that they've done. And we are choosing a winner every day. And through the leadership of our board of directors, we have gotten permission to give away a $150 gift card to a local business every day. That is the choice of the winner. So we contact the winner. I think today's, which I don't think we've shared, is Haley from Spectra. Haley shared with us some really cool chalk art that she and her daughter did, and she chose a gift certificate to Belle's Boutique. So hopefully you have seen those videos that Caitlin and I have been doing. If you have not participated yet, we're going to continue doing it as long as we are in sheltering at home and safe at home. So we will continue to share that and to give away that $150 for as long as we can. So with that, I'll take a few more minutes and introduce something new. In partnership with our friends at Faith, Hope, and Charity, and thank you to them for giving us the seed money that we need to do a new initiative called Pay It Forward. This is an idea that was kind of birthed from Courtney at Chateau Maitre, did the gift card challenge personally on her Facebook page just a couple of days ago. Courtney did that with her friend group, and that idea spurred some thought with Kent, and he talked to us about joining forces with Faith, Hope, and Charity. So Pay It Forward Gilmer is an initiative that we're going to help our businesses to create. And we have a little video that the least technical of all of us on this call, am going to try to share with you. So I hope that you'll be kind and give me just a second. I'm going to try and share my screen, and Caitlin's there for technical support, I hope, if I mess up, but hopefully this video will explain it better than I. Caitlin, give me a thumbs up if it's there. All right, here we go.
This is the Pay It Forward Challenge, an initiative brought to you by Faith, Hope, and Charity and the Gilmer Chamber aimed at one thing, helping our businesses continue to thrive in these unprecedented times. But let's ditch these fancy graphics and get to what we came here for. Really bad stick figures. So that's us, Faith, Hope, and Charity and the Gilmer Chamber. And that's Mary Ann Elkins. She's a local business owner. She owns Southern Flair Antiques. We give Mary Ann the rules for the challenge and a script to help her get started. Oh, and the $25. We tell Mary Ann to have fun with it. Now it's up to her. Mary Ann has to think of a loyal customer, somebody who goes to her business a lot, somebody who would love to pay it forward. She thinks of Heath. Mary Ann calls Heath up and says, Heath, you have $25 to spend at Southern Flair. The only stipulation is that if you take this money, you have to give $25 to someone else. He's really excited. Mary Ann asks him who he wants to give $25 to, and Heath takes a second to think about it. After he's done thinking, Heath decides that he wants to give his gift card to his friend Alicia from Leadership Gilmer. So he makes the arrangements to pass a gift card on to Alicia, and Mary Ann takes care of it from there. She calls up Alicia and says, Alicia, we're doing a Pay It Forward challenge. Heath got a $25 gift card, and he wants to pass one on to you. The only stipulation is you have to pay it forward. Alicia's really excited. Mary Ann asks her, who is next? Alicia thinks about it for a second. And after she thinks about it for a second, she thinks Betsy. Betsy would love a $25 gift card, and Betsy would love to pass it on and help their friend Mary Ann out. Betsy gets a $25 gift card, and then Betsy has to decide who she wants to pass it on to, and so on and so forth. It started out with $25, but when Heath gave $25 to Alicia, Mary Ann had $50. And whenever Alicia passed $25 on to Betsy, Mary Ann had $75, and then she'll have $100, and so on, and so on, and so on. They're the best leadership class ever, and they're all really excited that they could help out their friend. And it keeps going. Betsy gives to somebody, and then that somebody gives to some somebodies, and that somebody gives to some somebodies. And the next thing you know, there is a ripple of kindness and a ripple of giving that goes all throughout the community and touches countless lives. People get gift certificates to a place they already love going, and they would already spend money at anyway. And Mary Ann, she feels really loved and really taken care of because the community she has built up with her business is there for her and supports her with money that they would spend otherwise and a little bit of kindness that they didn't expect.
So hopefully Caitlin's amazing video that she created last night explains a little bit more about the Pay It Forward Gilmer initiative. We want to provide this opportunity through the seed money. Faith, Hope, and Charity has donated $2,500. So that is 100 businesses that will each get $25 to create a gift certificate that we are going to give them. We're going to create the gift certificate template for them. They will then choose one of their loyal customers. So this is where shopping local and spending your money at home will pay off because you hopefully will be the recipient of one of those 100 businesses' first $25 gift certificates. So let's say Mary Ann calls me instead of Heath, just say, and I get the $25. Then I have to say, okay, I'm going to give $25 to Caitlin, and here's my credit card, charge me for it, and call Caitlin. Here's her email, here's her telephone number, and give her my $25 gift card. So you see how quickly $25 could become $100 or $500, depending on how many people will be in the chain to support our local businesses. So with that, I wanted to share one other thing with you, I think. Let's see if this works. Caitlin, can you see it? Yes? All right. So this is how you as a business can participate and pay it forward. If you are interested in being one of the 100 businesses and you are in LJ Incorporated, restaurant retail service provider, you're going to email Lisa at tourism@gilmerchamber.com. If you're in East LJ or Cherry Log, you're going to email Ellen. And if you're in the county, unincorporated, you're going to email Caitlin at communications. We will put this on our Facebook. We'll also share it in our next email that goes out to the membership. So, oh, excuse me, I have to sneeze. Pollen. So with that, take down whichever email address you need, and that will get you more information, and we will create, again, the script, the template for the certificate, and we're going to give you the first $25 courtesy of Faith Open Charity. So I hope that you will see that if 1,000 people buy gift cards, that's $25,000 very quickly into our local economy, and that's what this is about. $25 makes a difference today and every day, especially right now, in trying to keep our local businesses afloat, keep them in business so that we will be back and enjoying their services when all of this is over. So that's all that we had today. Before I close us out, Caitlin, unmute yourself for a second if you don't mind, and tell us, is there anything that we missed? Are there any questions? If anybody has questions for me or anybody else on the panel, just let me know before I close this out.
I do not see any questions right now. Let's maybe give people a second. Okay, no, we do not have questions. We just have kind comments.
Well, we like kindness. So thank you all. I have been watching some of the comments, and I have to tell you, y'all know what a sucker I am for kindness. It is one of our core values here at the Chamber, and it is one that is front and center right now. It is one that our community and our world needs more than ever. And I can tell you there's no place I'd rather be living during this crisis than right here in Gilmer County. And I hope that you will take our initiatives for what they are. We want to be here for you. We want to be here for our community. I am blessed to have the most amazing team and the most amazing leadership in our cities and our county, and Commission Chair Paris is no exception. He and I have been in contact throughout all of this. He's answered my calls and my texts and all of those crazy questions when I've had them. And really, it is just to try to get the answers that we need for our businesses. Before we close out and say thank you to everybody, please pay attention to your email. And if you are not following the Gilmer Chamber Facebook page, right now when we can't hug your necks and we can't see you in person, the best that we can do is communicate with you via email and via our Facebook. So we are constantly monitoring those, and I hope that you will continue to reach out to all of us. Today is Thankful Thursday, and you're going to see a little bit of that on our Facebook page later today. But I want to say a personal thank you to our healthcare workers, our first responders, because you are the heroes that are going to get us through this. I can't say enough about the leadership at Piedmont Mountainside Hospital and their constant communication with us as a community, and this community has responded. For everybody that's made homemade masks or taken food, to our first responders, to our EMS who stepped up to feed the kids this week during spring break when the seamless summer feeding could not take place. So thank you to our EMS. Thank you to our law enforcement. This is a trying time for everybody. Thank you to our local leadership. Thank you to our bankers. Our bankers are on the front line now, working long hours, trying to get our businesses the help that they need and all of that. And thank you to everybody whose support has meant so much. I see Caitlin kind of going, what does that mean?
Oh, nothing.
Caitlin, what am I missing? No? Okay. I was trying to read some of your comments. Wow. Okay. That's awesome. Sandy Ott. Thank you, Sandy. She is donating $100 more to sponsor 4 more businesses in the city so that we can do 4 more gift certificates. Sandy, you're an amazing leader, always have been. And we are so thankful to have you at the city council level now. So in the spirit of Holy Week and with Easter Sunday, it's a perfect time for us to be grateful. It's a perfect time for us to be together on this Thursday as we enter into the last few days of Holy Week. So God bless everybody. Stay safe, stay home, because I can't wait to hug y'all's neck when we get back together, hopefully next month. And if not, we'll do it soon. So on behalf of all of us, thank you, Ellen. Thank you, Caitlin. We did it. I don't think there were very many big mess ups on our technology. We are learning. Penelope Marshall and all of the fine folks at Amicalola EMC, you guys have always been there for us, and we appreciate you. And Commissioner Paris, thank you to you and Carlene and Mr. Parker for all that you do. So God bless everybody. Thank you, Chris. We appreciate your leadership, and everybody take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye. Mwah.